Yes! Oh, it is. It is a Tuesday episode. Although it feels kind of like a Thursday, given that this is Thanksgiving week and everybody's going to be eating turkey and watching football and all that on Thursday. Then you go shopping on Friday. It is a Tuesday episode of Donno Daily here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. I am Alex Donno. Huge shout out to all the Canes fans, all the Dolphins fans, all the Heat fans, and all the Marlins fans, because we will be talking with Joe Frisaro today at around 3:45. So we're going to talk fish and Major League Baseball with Joe. 3:30, we're going to talk Dolphins with our guy, Big John Stud, a show favorite. Now, if there's anybody who could maybe almost kind of sort of talk me into being a Tua stan, it's Big John Stud. Because Big John Stud is a Tua stan. He prays at the Church of Tua every single Sunday. At about 3:15, we're going to be joined by Brady Hawk from the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Mr. 5 Takeaways, Mr. Heat Recap, Mr. Heat Pregame. He's all over 5reasonsports.com, and he does an awesome job on 5 on the Floor as well. So if you're with us, make sure you guys smash the like button and subscribe to 5 Reasons Sports on YouTube. Hello to Louis Sung Sr. I hope you are well, sir. Hello to Devin Jordan. Now, Devin, he says he's taking the Heat minus 10 tonight. They are gigantic road favorites in Detroit. Let's remember the Pistons are going to be really thin up front. Isiah Stewart suspended after getting into it with LeBron James the other night. No Kelly Olynyk tonight either. And the Pistons are flat out bad. 4 wins the entire year. So a certain curse is going to be tested tonight. We'll get to that. And yeah, I'm a little bit impatient that the University of Miami does not have an athletic director yet. I want to remind you guys, we have an official sports bar on Donno Daily. In fact, we will see you out there tonight. We are going to be at the Quarterdeck Davie, the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill location in Davie, right across the street from Nova Southeastern University. We're having a good old-fashioned watch party tonight. The Miami Heat at the Detroit Pistons is going to tip off. I love the early tip-offs. I love the 7 p.m.s. Catch us out there tonight. You can even meet Royal A. Shepherd out at the Quarterdeck. He's going to be emceeing this event. Ethan Skolnick out there, the entire crew, the Quarterdeck in Davie. And guys, knock down the 2-for-1 drinks. The 2-for-1 happy hour is all day, every day. They have some awesome appetizers at the Quarterdeck. The last time we were out there for a watch party, I tried the teriyaki chicken wings for the first time. I've had wings in other flavors there. I had never tried the teriyaki. They are excellent. The buffalo shrimp is to die for. The seafood is always fresh at the Quarterdeck. The oysters and Maine lobster, the fresh mahi-mahi. They have great sushi at the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. I love to build my own poke bowl with tons of fresh options and toppings. And yeah, they've got the 5 for $15 ice cold buckets of imported beer Saturdays and Sundays out there. You can watch every UFC pay-per-view fight at the Quarterdeck for no cover charge. And like Manny Chang points out there in the chat, try the jerk chicken sandwich at the Quarterdeck. That's one of the newest menu items, and it's really delicious and really spicy. I absolutely freaking love it. So if you want to find the location nearest to you, or check their menu before you go, visit them on the web at quarterdeckrestaurants.com. We'll see you at the Quarterdeck Davie tonight. That's where you come for the food and stay for the fun. More Dolphins mushing, man, he says. I mushed Bayern in Champions League. They did win today, but they didn't cover against Dynamo Kiev. They won 2-1. I had Bayern minus 1.5. So my mush powers strike again. But you know what? If you want to fade my picks, if you want to fade the mush, I can recommend the official sports book of Donno Daily, and that's betus.com. When you sign up at BetUS, which is America's favorite sports book, the 3-decade leader, signing up at BetUS, it's like having Las Vegas in your pocket. They've got a full casino right there on the website. You can play blackjack for real money. You can play slot machines, all sorts of games. And yeah, you can bet on any sporting event on planet Earth. I've been betting Champions League today. I'm going to be betting on the Miami Heat tonight. Fair warning to anybody out there who's worried about my mush powers. But man, you can get fair odds on every game. And the most important thing is we offer you something through this show that you cannot get with the competition. The biggest bonus in the industry. If you sign up with our show code 5RSN125, they're going to give you a 125% sign up bonus. So if you deposit $100, they're going to give you $125 in free play money on top of your deposit. How good is that? 5RSN125. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS.com. Miami Hurricanes fans are flipping out and freaking out about a report that came out last night from our friend. He's been on the show before, Gary Furman from Kane Sport. I kind of feel bad for Gary because he's getting personally attacked for this report for reasons I cannot understand. And by the way, sweet potato or pumpkin pie guy, Devin Jordan asks, I'm not a fan of either. Is that crazy? I don't like pumpkin things, and I can eat the sweet potato, but it's got to be like for dessert because it's too sweet when they put the marshmallows in there. It's like too sweet for me to mix with all the other trimmings. I don't like cranberry sauce either. Brooklyn Rob says, thank you so much for the super chat, Brooklyn Rob. I hit my parlay last night. Here is a piece for Manny and Sean. Thank you so much, Brooklyn Rob, for the $20 donation through our super chat. And Manny is already going through the interwebs to try and find the next pair of Yeezys that he's going to throw away money on. So your money is going to good use, Brooklyn Rob. Thank you so much for donating that money to Manny Chang's Ugly Shoe Fund. So Gary Furman from Kane Sport reported last night that Manny Diaz could very well keep his job and coach the Miami Hurricanes beyond the 2021 season. Let me read, before you guys give any judgment, let me read you an excerpt from this, and I'm going to tell you two things that could be at play here. And I'm not even doubting Gary's reporting. I think that Gary is getting this from a source. He's had good sources before. So he writes at canesport.com, the emergence of Tyler Van Dyke, combined with the unquestioned effort of Miami's players the second half of the season, is close to landing Manny Diaz another year as Miami's football coach, he says. The final decisions on the future of Miami football are expected to be made by the Hurricanes' new athletic director when that person is named, sources told Kane Sport. So essentially the BOT and the administration, they're going to pass the buck to the new AD who is yet to be hired and could be hired any minute, right? I don't know, because people were reporting maybe it would happen yesterday. Maybe it's going to happen today. So we don't know when the new AD is going to be announced at Miami. The Miami Hurricanes, he says, have begun a national athletic director search orchestrated by the search firm Turnkey ZRG. There is no current timeline on the search, he says. The new AD might still decide he wants a different coach immediately, but that is not likely or expected at the moment, Gary says. There is a strong sentiment deep inside the university that they need to stop the 3 years and panic cycle with coaches. Listen, I think sometimes when you have the wrong guy in charge, you should panic. That's my 2 cents on that. So what is becoming clear, he writes, is that change probably will not be dictated by Miami's administration or board of trustees. A hasty firing of Diaz after Miami's season finale against Duke, once under consideration, will be shelved right now because of the way the Hurricanes have competed since their 2-4 start and hope inspired by Van Dyke's incredible development over the past 2 months. The report continues, but I think that's the meat and potatoes of it. And so people, they saw the headline and they read it and they're freaking out because they're like, oh my God, Gary Furman is telling us Manny Diaz is back next year. That Manny Diaz is not going to be fired. Manny Diaz will be Miami's coach for 2022, and the program will continue to slide deeper and deeper into quicksand. We're caught in the mud forever. A few things on that, okay? The main point I think you all and me should take away from this is, and I'm assuming every bit of info here is true, and I'm not doubting Furman's reporting skills because he's a professional, okay? So if you take everything in that report at face value, the number one takeaway should be they're going to let the new athletic director decide. They're going to let the new AD decide, should it be Manny Diaz, someone else? If it's someone else, who should it be? And my friends, I have zero problem with that whatsoever. I have zero problem. You are about to hire someone, a new athletic director, and I'm assuming they're being pretty ambitious with this search here. And thank you for the super chat, Devin Jordan. He says, the only reason I'd be okay keeping Manny is if they can't get Mario or Kiffin. You're smart. I want to get to that angle in a second, okay? I want to get to that. But if the primary takeaway here is the new athletic director, which might be hired today, might be hired tomorrow, might be hired 4 days from now, right? I do want that person who Miami, I think, is going to pay dearly for, because I think they want to make this a pretty big splash of an AD hire. I think part of what makes that job attractive, you sign on to become the new athletic director of the University of Miami. Don't you want to be able to decide the new AD who the head football coach is going to be? Do I fire this guy? Do I keep this guy? If I fire him, who do I bring in? So passing the buck off to the new AD, I think, is absolutely the right way to approach it 100%. Now, another part of this is, before I get to Devin's angle on it, you are really in a weird spot right now heading into Saturday's season finale, regular season finale anyway, because Miami will be playing in a bowl game this year. You're heading into a spot where you're just a few weeks away from early National Signing Day. And even though the current coaching staff may very well be in the unemployment line, less than a week from now, these guys are still recruiting, right? These guys are still out there trying to salvage something in the class of 2022 that currently has no South Floridian players and only 8 players in the class, period. They're still recruiting. So I would understand if the administration would want there to be some sort of positivity out there in terms of Manny Diaz, because if you're not ready to fire him yet, you don't really want your coaching staff to be official lame ducks heading into their final game. And then if you want to be a little bit more on the pessimistic side of things. Now, if you're asking me, let me be optimistic for a second. What do I think is going to happen here? I think that they, within the next few days, several days, because I know we do have the Thanksgiving holiday coming up, so they're definitely not going to announce anything on Thursday, right? Maybe they announce on Wednesday, maybe they announce on Friday. Within the next several days, I think you're going to have a new athletic director, and then I think that person is going to clean house with the coaching staff. No matter, whether or not Manny stays, I think Rhett Lashley is out the door because he's going to emerge, I think, as a prime candidate for the SMU job. He's coached there before, of course. So he might end up being their head coach, which would be a nice opportunity for him. And if Manny Diaz loses Rhett Lashley, I think that's another reason why Diaz should be out. Okay. So I do think that the new AD is going to end up making a change at head coach. That's the optimist in me. And I'm okay with the Miami administration saying, we want our AD to make this decision. We're not going to make the decision before the new AD arrives. Now, if you want to be pessimistic about it, what would be another potential reason why UM would be telling media folks that there's a chance Diaz could stick around? The conspiracy theorist in me says that could mean they're not getting positive word from Cristobal's camp, and they're not even getting positive word from Lane Kiffin's camp. I know that the reports came out last week that Kiffin would take the Miami job if offered. Things can change on a dime. The Florida job is open. Perhaps he could be in consideration there. There are other jobs. I don't see him at USC for obvious reasons, but, there are a number of different ways, or Lane could end up staying at Ole Miss. They could give him a big extension, so he might be working this for his leverage. So you kind of have to wonder, if you want to be a pessimist about this, why would the University of Miami be leaking information that Manny Diaz might be safe after all? That could be because they're not getting good vibes on the potential of Mario coming here or Lane coming here. And then you'd have to go with the pack if it's not one of them. And then maybe you do consider keeping Diaz. I don't really agree with it. Brooklyn Rob had said Mario Cristobal is not leaving that Nike money. He's obviously in a great situation there. Miami is unique because it's his alma mater and it's his hometown. I think those would be the only factors that could pull him back here. And I do assume that if Miami were to make him an offer, it would be a competitive financial offer. But outside of sentimental reasons, I don't really see why Cristobal would leave his situation at Oregon for Miami, but I think sentiment could have something to do with it. So, yeah, I think that's where we're at. I just hope, and again, I hope with these reports now out there that maybe Diaz's job isn't in question right now, at least not as much as we thought. More reasons why I hope that a new athletic director is hired and announced here within the next couple of days, because we need to get this show on the road, man. Like, we need to get moving on this, okay? And, as far as, how competitive the team has been for the past 6 games, you have still seen fireable offenses by this coaching staff. Losing that Florida State game the way that they did, that was on coaching. That was on awful time management, awful play calling. You lost a rivalry game against a Florida State team that's not as good as you were. No excuses for that outside of coaching. So if you want to talk to me about, look how competitive these guys are and this, that, and the other, And yeah, Tyler Van Dyke looks great, but wouldn't you also like to see Tyler Van Dyke playing for a Lane Kiffin offense or working under superior coaches under Mario Cristobal? I'm sorry, Alex. He says Hurricanes talk is similar to watching paint dry. Okay, so you're either just not a college football fan, period, or you must be a Seminole or a Gator fan. Tell me which of those is right. But the Heat fans can rejoice because we go out to our first guest of the day. This guy is always putting in the work. He is the boy wonder of the 5 Reasons Sports Network. The Heat play the Pistons tonight. Brady Hawk is probably halfway done with his post-game takeaway piece already. Brady, thank you so much for joining us. Happy Tuesday to you, sir. How are you?
Doing good. Thanks for having me back.
And we're gonna have the curse tested tonight, Brady. And this is what I referenced in the title to this episode. Can the Miami Heat beat this curse? So they're playing on the road, yeah, but against a bad and shorthanded Detroit Pistons team. They've got 4 wins on the season. The Heat are 10-point road favorites against Detroit. Honestly, Brady, the only way the Heat could possibly lose this game is if the 5 Reasons Watch Party curse is real. Can they beat the curse tonight?
I think they have some added juice to that because Bam, 3 starters are questionable right now for the Miami Heat, and Bam, PJ Tucker, and Duncan Robinson. So it may be a package deal of 5 Reasons Watch Party and some questionable tags. But either way, like you just said, this Pistons team is just not very good, just plainly. And I don't think they have a center. Like, I really don't think they have a center tonight. The Miami Heat might not have their starting center, but we know how Eric Spoelstra likes to go positionless. Maybe he throws Tyler Hero at the center position because he probably can against a team like this Detroit team just because they're so small all around. But either way, they should win this. You have Jimmy Butler, you have Kyle Lowry, you have Tyler Hero. You beat a Pistons team like this.
So out of those Heat questionable players, how optimistic are you individually on who's going to play and maybe pessimistic on who's not?
Yeah, I feel like it's a real toss-up with PJ and Bam because it says illness. Like, that could just be so many different things. Like, you kind of really have no idea. And obviously 2 guys having it makes it even, has your eyes on it a little bit more. So I'm not really sure about them. Duncan, he hasn't missed many games like over his career. So this is one of the first times that we're kind of like seeing him maybe not miss. Not that he's the same Duncan Robinson we once saw before. But he's still a valuable player to this team. So if he plays, I would expect him to play. I think it's a toss-up with Bam and PJ. Maybe they sit one of them. I think PJ would probably be the smarter guy to sit, to be honest, because he's had, wear and tear on him all season. Like, guys have gone out, Bam, Jimmy, and Kyle. PJ's been fighting through this whole season, just kind of grinding. And he's one of the guys that's on the floor every single play, kind of getting his hands dirty. So I feel like it would not surprise me if he sat. I think Bam probably ends up playing. This is just pure speculation, I think Duncan plays as well.
Okay. Now, I know that some people have brought up like the possibility because, you're playing against a bad shorthanded Detroit team that this could be a trap game. Now, obviously, if the Heat are without a number of important players, I could see that just being, tough losses to overcome. But I would feel worse like about the possibilities of this being a trap game. I would feel a lot worse if they hadn't lost their last time out. Like if they had beaten the Wizards on Saturday, then maybe I could see them overlooking the Pistons a little bit. But I think anytime you lose and you lose a close game under those circumstances, I think that whoever's on the court tonight in Miami colors will be energetic and ready to go.
Yeah, and I think we've talked about this theme. The one negative part of this team is that they've lost so many close games. So they have a lead. The team comes back. They squeaked 2 out against Utah when they came back, but obviously they lost the 2 in LA. And it was a 3-point loss. They lost to Wizards, 3-point loss. No matter who they're playing, as you just said, they're not going to take their foot off the pedal. Like, they have a lead. They're securing that lead. I don't see a way. I think best case scenario, they can have a decent lead and probably sit Jimmy and Lowry in the 4th because it's a back-to-back and they play Minnesota the next day. And it's a game Jimmy Butler probably is really excited for going back to Minnesota, I would say. So I think probably trying to lock up a lead early on is probably important, but obviously keeping your foot on the pedal. I think this is a game where Tyler Hero gets a ton of shots just because of not only the injury report, but also just like in front of a back-to-back. You'd expect Tyler to get the ball up a ton and probably be your leading scorer like he has been most nights.
What did you make of the whole the whole situation in Detroit the other night between, Isaiah Stewart and LeBron, and then Isaiah just going on like a rampage where he was like just leaving bodies in his wake trying to get to LeBron. Now, everyone knows who watches this show that I'm not a big LeBron guy, and I take every opportunity to troll LeBron James. However, I think the people who are complaining, like, oh, why did Stewart get suspended longer than LeBron? I think they did it right. Now, maybe you could have argued both guys should have been suspended a little bit longer than they were. Maybe LeBron should have gotten 2. Maybe Isaiah Stewart should have gotten 4. But like when you watch the entire event, for as vicious as the elbow from LeBron looked, and it did cut Stewart open, Stewart's got to control himself, man. I mean, it took like 15 people to contain the guy. And look, thankfully, it didn't escalate into another malice at the palace, but he certainly did his part to escalate that. So I, for one, had no problem with Stewart getting suspended a little bit longer than LeBron.
Yeah, he definitely looked like Derrick Henry coming down the middle, a few of those knocking down his own coaches, which, by the way, had to be a rough bus ride back to their facility, because, man, that's your own coaches. That's had to be a little awkward. I definitely think Isaiah Stewart deserved more, like kind of going on the situation. It looked like LeBron, obviously he shouldn't have done what he did, but it looked like he was going to push his arm down. Like he wasn't going for the face, obviously. It looked like he had his arm in his armpit. He was going to like swing his arm down to get his arm off of it. He missed. He hit his face. So that's a suspension right there. But I think we've seen the suspension bar with the Jokic-Morris situation. Like Jokic absolutely pummels Morris from the back and knocks him down like that. Morris still has not played a game with Miami since that point. No. And it was a 1-game suspension for Jokic. So like kind of seeing that unfold, it kind of aligns like with what Stewart did afterward. 2 games probably aligns with what we've seen so far this season. But obviously when you see, LeBron involved, everything kind of changes. What does it say? No, I didn't get any payment. I did not get any payment.
How much did China pay you? He got paid in Chinese yuan.
No payment was received. I'm still, I'll voice it on Donno Daily if he's, if he wants to hit my Cash App, but no.
Wouldn't that be nice?
But I do think, just thinking back to the Jokic situation, it does kind of align. But the thing was, I've never seen a player kind of, act like he was cooled down and then kind of come back. I've never seen a player, he looked like he was cooled down walking back to his bench, and then he kind of fooled everybody out and ran back. I've never seen nothing like that.
Uh-huh. Oh, here we go. So this is to anyone saying LeBron didn't mean it. Nice buffering on your video, Manny. But no, I mean, I watched it from 100 different angles. It looked pretty vicious to me. I mean, and this is crazy. It is to say it. Actually, it's not that crazy to say it because of who he is. But this is the first time LeBron has ever been suspended. Like it's never happened before. Right. So I mean, I guess either the league just doesn't give him quite as much favoritism as they used to, or maybe LeBron is just getting a little nastier with old age, Brady.
Yeah, and this comment right here was that the most nervous guy of the night was probably the Pistons PA announcer. He was, Pistons fans weren't even doing anything. He was making sure everybody was calm. He was making sure nobody threw anything at LeBron. So he was prepared. I mean, he might need a raise. LeBron people might need to get his Cash App, because he was kind of the one keeping everything down at that point.
And I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, their PA announcer is the same guy who's been doing it even since the malice at the palace. So he when he sees like what was kind of starting to happen down there, he's probably having flashbacks like, oh my God, I need to make sure that these fans know, stay in your seats. We can't have any of these shenanigans here today. Oh man. So the Heat taking on the Detroit Pistons tonight. Let's go back to something you referenced a little bit earlier, and that's been a little bit of messiness with the Heat closing out games. What do you think has been lacking here in these fourth quarters?
Well, I think it's a couple things. For one, the 2 LA games, we kind of kept saying no Jimmy Butler. You can't really judge it. And Indiana, they'd had the same kind of scenario, no Kyle Lowry. This was the first time they had everybody, and we saw it happen. So now it's kind of an issue. I don't think it's a huge issue. I think they'll come around with it. It's still early. They're still going to have moments, but I think there is things to tweak that were pretty obvious. I think one is that they get into these isolation possessions with Jimmy Butler and kind of forget their offense. It looked like last game specifically, it was Bam, PJ, and Tyler kind of standing around and letting Jimmy just go do it. And as much as their isolation possessions have increased, of the frequency of their isolation possessions, that's just not the way you're supposed to run offense at the end of games. Defensively, it's kind of the same thing, except they were just letting the Wizards do what they wanted to do in terms of they were letting Hero just guard Bradley Beal every play. Like they were not trying to fight through the screens and kind of keep your matchup. Tyler Hero was ending up on the ball handler every single play. It would lead to PJ or somebody trying to edge over to double like he should, and it was a pass and it was a wide open three. And that's what led to, I think mine was up 96-90, and it led to 99-96 out of nowhere because of 3 straight threes, because of 3 straight defensive possessions where you kind of let that up. Those are just problems that you have to fix. And the main thing is probably, we know who the best players on this team are, but Tyler Hero needs the ball in his hands at the end of games because he's the 6th highest scorer in the fourth quarter this season in the entire league. Like he needs the ball in his hands. His last attempt came at, I think, 5:47 left in the fourth. That just can't happen, especially when he's having a decent, night. He started out bad. He came back. He started playing really well, and he kept them going. He needs to get shots up. And I feel like that's also to do with placement on the court, but it's also him going to get the ball and just going.
Great stuff here from Brady Hawk. Brady, on the way out here, what's your prediction for tonight? Are the Heat going to win this game comfortably, or are they going to avoid the fourth quarter woes? Because I'm thinking about betting Heat -10 tonight. Tell me if that's crazy or not.
I think that line probably moves because of the injury report. Like I think we get closer to game time, especially Spoelstra's not going to give anything up until 30 minutes before the game. So I think that line definitely moves, but I think Miami does win comfortably no matter who plays. Like this just feels like a game. This is a bad Pistons team. Miami, as you mentioned before, is coming off of a loss that they shouldn't have got. They said it after the game themselves. So I do think they win this comfortably, and I think Lowry and Jimmy are sitting on the bench for the final 8 minutes.
I love it. Awesome stuff. Brady Hawk, 5reasonsports.com. You could also see him on 5 on the Floor as well. What can we expect the next couple of days on the website, Brady? I'm sure you're going to have the recaps and takeaways tonight. What do you have in the works?
Yep, 5 takeaways after the buzzer sounds. I'll be on 5 on the Floor tonight for the post-game wrap-up, and then tomorrow I go over the film from the game and kind of touch on stuff on Twitter at BradyHawk305.
Excellent. We'll enjoy it, and hopefully we see everybody out at the Heat watch party, man. We're going to be watching the Heat and Detroit Pistons tonight at the Quarterdeck location in Davie. Quarterdeck Davie. It's going to be a great time. They have an awesome patio out there, and of course, anytime you're at the Quarterdeck, you get the amazing food, the fresh sea. Are you going to be out there, Brady?
I'm not making it tonight, but I'll be there.
Oh, well, you know what? Maybe, I don't know, maybe you being out there last time when they lost to the Nuggets during the last watch party, maybe you were the problem. So maybe you watching it from wherever you're watching it tonight might help the team.
That's what I'm thinking. I was kind of looking out for the people.
I appreciate it, my friend. Brady, enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy all the stories because you seem to really enjoy what you do, man, and I appreciate that. So have a good time tonight.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Always good stuff there with Brady Hawk. All right, let's move on to the Miami Dolphins. Oh, Manny says, blame Ethan. He forgot my hat. I don't know. Manny, the last watch party, just to out Manny here. Yeah, I know he was working a Panthers game, but, he showed up at like 10:30 to the last watch party, and Ethan had a hat there for you. But I think at a certain point, he's waiting like 3 hours for you to show up. He ended up giving, quote unquote, your hat away to one of our viewers. So, I mean, listen, he's trying to take care of the people out there. You can't just be there trying to bum all the free shit all the time, Manny. All right, let's go back out to the guest line. Going to talk some Dolphins. If there's any human being on planet Earth who might be able to talk me into being a Tua stan, because you guys know I'm very lukewarm on Tua. I think that people bash this guy a little bit too much, but then I also think people make too many excuses for the guy. So I still have to send Brooklyn Rob his gift card. I have it, and Brooklyn Rob, just to prove that I haven't given it away to someone else. I've got it right here. You can see the magnetic strip, so you know it's legit. And Big John Stud, I should send him a gift card as well because he's been awesome with us on the show. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
How you doing, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. 3-game winning streak for the Dolphins.
I'm just glad I was able to get my internet to work, man. It wasn't working yesterday, so.
Ooh. Well, good things happen, man. I sent some positive Wi-Fi vibes. I sent some 5G your way, so I know that you're good.
I figured when I spoke to you, you put on the tinfoil hat, and it just, the tinfoil hat just send me the signal. I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know where the tinfoil hat is. I think my kid might have swiped it.
I don't know, bro. I sent you $5 the other day for you to buy some more aluminum foil. What happened?
I do have some foil. There we go. I do have some foil in the kitchen. So it's not, I have no shortage of foil thanks to you. I just haven't made it in the shape of a hat. So, hey, we've had 3 straight Dolphins victories. And now I will remind everyone, last weekend, Miami was going up against the worst defense in the league in yards given up and the worst passing defense in the league. And Tua actually threw for under the average yardage that the Jets give up per game. So I just want to throw that out there. But with that said, he did some really good things out there, Big John Stud. And I thought that for whatever people might like to say about, oh, it didn't look like it was very high velocity on that pass he threw to Mac Hollins. I thought that was a big throw, especially in the situation, the way he had to climb in the pocket, avoid the pressure, make his second read. So I loved that throw. And I didn't think Tua was capable of throwing a football 52 yards in the air, but he did it, and here we are. What did you make? Let's start with the micro. What did you make of Tua's performance against New York?
All right. Before I get into that, I'm going to ask you a question first.
Yeah.
What made you think Tua could not throw a football 52 yards? I'm asking this question because
he's got a noodle for an arm and he's tiny.
No.
Noodle.
No. Tua has never had a noodle for an arm. That is a narrative that has landed when he got to Miami and he's been injured when he has one leg, and he's throwing off one leg. I've never seen Tua have an issue throwing the ball 52 yards in the air. I've seen him do that at Alabama I don't know how many times. That's what he was known for. Tua was known for his deep ball and his accuracy. So I don't know where that came from. So I keep hearing it online and I keep hearing people say it, and I'm like, I had somebody online, not gonna sit there and say who it was. If you're watching enough YouTube, you know who you are. Tua can't throw 40 yards. What are you talking about? Like, I don't get it. Now, to what you said, well, Mac Jones compared to Tua does have a noodle arm. Mac Jones's arm is weaker than Tua's, but that's neither here nor there. Answering your little pop-up over here.
No, I see.
But,
yeah.
But
and actually, and I said something last week, Big John, that if you saw it, you were probably fuming mad. I would take Mac Jones over Tua Tagovailoa right now. That I would make that trade straight up.
But that's an insane comment to make, considering the fact that everybody sits there and says, oh, Mac Jones broke all of Tua's records. Wait a minute. How did Mac Jones played, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 2 more games than Tua. Tua didn't play fourth quarters. Tua had 98 career touchdown passes, and Mac Jones had 56. So how did Mac Jones do better than Tua? And Mac Jones, if you look at, in hindsight, who had the better receivers, it was Mac Jones. Devontae Smith won the Heisman Trophy, and you had Jalen Waddle on the other side when you're bored. Let me just throw it to Jalen Waddle. He's just going to run 80 yards every time he touches the ball. He averaged 49 yards of completion. Most of his touchdowns were over 40 yards. So, but Tua's performance to me was exactly what the doctor ordered. And people who are talking about his interception and it's a bad throw need to go back, look at the all-22 footage, and realize that the reason why I threw it to the interception was because Robert Hunt was in Tua's lap, and Tua couldn't step into the throw and overthrew Jalen Waddle, who was wide open. So Tua didn't make a mistake by throwing the ball. It's just Robert Hunt did not block on that play. So, it is what it is. One thing, if you can't step into the throw, the ball's going to come out high. That's exactly what happened. So there goes that.
That's a very good point on that breakdown. Now, let me ask you this one. Who would you rather have right now, Tua or Justin Herbert?
Sincerely? I would take Tua, and I'm going to tell you why.
What?
I would take Tua. I'm going to tell you why. Because to me, it isn't about Tua's talent. To me, it's Tua's surrounding cast. Here's a question for you.
Okay.
Here's a question for you. If Tua was with the San Diego Chargers, with that offensive line, where I literally, he had 5 seconds to throw. I could have literally had sacks behind the offensive line and still been able to get up and go make a sandwich before they got to him. Okay? On every throw,
You're
he
right
had
about
about 4.5 seconds. Okay? To be sincere, he had 4.5 seconds before he threw any pass until the fourth quarter. So if you put Tua in that offensive line with that running back and those receivers, we would be saying the same thing about Tua. Why? Well, Justin Herbert won the Rookie of the Year and all that stuff, but if Justin Herbert would, you can think I'm drug tested. That's fine. If you bring Justin Herbert to the Dolphins, does Justin Herbert win Rookie of the Year? No. Why? Because he wouldn't have played the first 7 games, so automatically, without anything, it doesn't qualify.
Okay.
So to me, I would still take Tua. But people can say what they want. At the end of the day, I'll take the proven commodity over what nobody knew. Everybody here is talking about Justin Herbert now. When we drafted Tua, everybody wanted Tua. There's not a human alive that would have taken Justin Herbert over Tua with his college tape. Not
just Mike Tannenbaum, but we fired him. We should have kept him around.
That might have been his only. Well, at the end of the day,
the only right move he ever made.
Well, at the end of the day, even if he does get that move right with this offensive line and having Austin Jackson as a drive-through, how would that help Justin Herbert?
Let me ask you. I like playing this game, so let me ask you this one. And I also, like I always say to you, and I say everybody watching, I love Big John Studs so much because you keep it 1,000% real. Nothing this man ever says has an agenda. Like you keep it 100% real. So, all right, let me ask you this one, and Zachary B threw this in: Tua or Patrick Mahomes?
Obviously, you're going to take Patrick Mahomes.
I just wanted to make sure. At the
end of the day, why would you take Patrick Mahomes? The reason why you would take Patrick Mahomes is because Patrick Mahomes is what everybody's striving to get at. Patrick Mahomes is the perfect hybrid. He can beat you from the pocket, and he can improvise and beat you with his legs. So at the end of the day, the only other player, and we have to give him credit, is Deshaun Watson. If he wasn't so busy getting massages by 40 women, maybe he'd be on the field.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
But how about this one? Tua or Dan Marino in his prime?
Are we really doing this right now?
Now I'm just fucking with you.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's not even a question. But I mean, at the end of the day, they like giving Tua all this heat. But at the end of the day, Tua's been the best quarterback we've had since Dan Marino. He's been the only quarterback we've had since Dan Marino.
Yeah. Well, Chad Pennington, the 1 year was really good.
That is a noodle arm. There you go.
That's a noodle arm. You're right. But he knew how to use it. It's not the size. It's the motion in the ocean. Whatever they used to say. I've heard that a lot.
I agree. But at the end of the day, people want to compare Tua. Forget Justin Herbert is an anomaly compared to regular quarterbacks. He can't. Do you see a Mark Clayton on this team right now?
No.
Do you see Mark Duper?
No, and unfortunately, the receivers who have the most talent are always hurt. But my guy Mac Hollins steps up, and I love him for that.
No Richmond Webb on this offensive line. No Keith Sims. Justin Herbert has Corey Linsley at center. He's got an offense. He literally has the Brooklyn Wall in front of him, and he gets all day to throw. If you give Tua 4.5 seconds, he's going to dissect you, but he doesn't have that time. I mean, come on. It can't get any worse. You have Austin Jackson, who's a drive-through on one side, and you have Jesse Davis on the other side. I mean, you have leaks everywhere. And at the end of the day, the guy comes out, rolls out of the pocket, throws a 52-yard strike on one leg, and people are saying he can't throw 40. By the way, all credit to Matt Collins, but the only reason he was open is because nobody thought they were going to throw it to him. Let's just keep it legit, okay?
You're not wrong.
The Dolphins don't have a single weapon, and when I say weapon, I mean receiver that can dictate coverage. Now, I was just informed by somebody that there's a very good possibility Will Fuller plays this week.
Whoa.
Now,
that would be a miracle.
If Will Fuller plays, you're going to see the difference when you have to dictate coverage and double cover one guy and open up the field for everybody else.
I like it.
That's a little tidbit.
I hope he does play. I hope he does play. And by the way, David Rivera mentioned Jalen Waddle in the chat. I like Waddle a lot. I really think he's having a nice year. What have you made of Waddle so far? Because I know people were giving him a hard time earlier on in the season, 5 yards per catch, all that. But he has been a great a great safety net target for whoever's playing quarterback. I thought he's been excellent this year.
I mean, at the end of the day, they can sit there and blame Jalen Waddle for getting a 5-yard average for receptions, but at the end of the day, if what people don't understand, if you do not block and give players the time to go down the field, you can't throw 20-yard in routes. You can't throw a deep ball when you don't have time for the play to develop. So Jalen Waddle's averaging, I mean, he made a record for futility.
Yeah.
13 catches, 52 yards. That's insane.
It is.
I mean, that's the one record he never wanted to have.
Exactly.
I mean, that's how bad this offensive line has been historically bad.
Yeah.
Historically. We said it earlier a couple of episodes ago. I said we're tied for 3 offensive linemen tied for pressures in the NFL.
Yep. There
has to be a pool going around. Listen, how many do you have? 35. Okay, let me get 2 on this play and we'll tie. Come on, man. It's horrible. It's horrible. You know what I think we should do?
What?
I think we should get Isiah. What's his name? The guy who fought with LeBron?
Isaiah Stewart. Get him out there.
We need to get – see, that's the kind of player you need to play offensive line.
Yeah.
Change Isaiah Stewart for Austin Jackson, and you got something.
What about so let's look ahead to this weekend. You know, so the Dolphins, I think it's another winnable game against Carolina. The Dolphins are actually 2-point underdogs at home. Now, you tell me how much you fear Cam Newton at this point. And I know he hurt the Dolphins badly with his legs last year in New England. Christian McCaffrey is personally the guy that I fear a little bit more. But what do you think about this matchup? Should the Dolphins be dogs or should they really be favored at home?
I mean, if you really want my true feeling to keep it 1,000, like you say,
always.
I'm gonna be the only one to tell you I would expect the Dolphins to dominate the Carolina Panthers. I would expect them to dominate because I expect them, if they continue what they're doing, I would expect them to use the same defense they used against the Ravens. I would expect to see, if they want to win, you need to see 0 blitz all day and drop out and go after them. I don't care if they're the 3rd best defense, the 2nd best defense. At the end of the day, if our defense controls the game, we're going to get better field position. So it doesn't really matter. But if you don't, if you're going to play zone and you're not going to come after Cam Newton, you're going to have the same issue that Washington had, where he's going to run out the pocket and he's going to run 30 yards, and it's like trying to knock. It's like trying to tackle a transformer. He's not normal. He's not. He's what is he? 6'5", 260?
Yeah, he's gigantic. Yeah, 6'5", if not 6'6". I mean, the guy's a giant.
He needs to get drug tested. You're not 6'5", 240, 250, running a 4.3. I mean, that's not normal.
Yeah, I've been 250 before. Unfortunately, I wasn't 6'5".
You definitely.
And I couldn't run a 4.3. I was running a 6'3".
Yeah.
Listen, man, I appreciate your time as always. Let people know where they can find you, social media, and I know you're always out and about doing shows and doing streams. Let people know.
You can find me today on Fin Nation Miami, on Miami Football Talks channel. We're gonna have a live stream there. You can look us up there. You'll see me on there today at 8:00. So, you guys can hop in. It's a great show. It's very informative for people who want to learn football. I mean, if you're gonna sit there and you don't understand the fact that you need an offensive line and a defensive line to win in the NFL, then I can't help you. So other than that, I mean, if logic and common sense still work in the world, then you should tune in. If it's pointless and you're not gonna get it, then don't waste your time. It's not gonna help you any.
I feel like if you're trying to tell people, only people with common sense to watch, you're going to alienate 90% of the people online. So I don't know if that's the best marketing strategy, because there's very little common sense left, bro.
But at the end of the day, it's not even about a marketing strategy, because what happens is you sit there, right? You do a live stream like you're doing now. We're talking football. We're educating people. We're explaining things to people. And at the end of the day, all they do is tell you how bad Tua is, and you spend the whole day trying to clarify to them how they're incorrect.
I hear you.
I'm not going to spend 3 hours telling somebody you're a moron. I'm not going to do that.
I would pay to watch that though.
Because at the end of the day, like you say, every time I tell you something, I'm not trying to blow smoke up your butt. I'm giving you facts, and you want to continue. You know what I'm gonna say. I never said this before, but I'm gonna say now. This is a great time to say it. I think I know what the issue is with the Dolphin fan base and people with football overall.
Okay.
We've gone from watching football for what it is to because there's fantasy football. And because people play Madden, and now they think that because they say you can be the GM and you can be the head coach, that they know football, and they don't realize that fantasy football is fantasy. It's not reality, but they judge a player based on how many yards he throws, the yards per average, how many touchdowns the guy caught, instead of understanding the inside and out, the nuances of the game, and they think it's Madden. I've heard people say Jacoby Brissett is better than Tua. On what planet?
Those people need to quit the drugs. For real.
Exactly. There's no narrative you can give me. The only reason they're saying that is because Jacoby Brissett, when he was with the Colts. Listen, 7 years ago, I was younger. So were you. It doesn't mean that Jacoby Brissett's better. I mean, and I heard somebody complaining yesterday talking about, Tua is fragile and his availability is in question.
That was me.
How can his availability be in question when people aren't blocking for the guy? Anybody who gets hit, the way Tua gets hit, breaks 3-4 ribs. Drew Brees broke 11.
And he played through it, though, Drew Brees. But he also had a coach who led him. So
well, it's not that, though. He missed 4 games before he played.
He did. But he was playing through it for a while, yeah.
And at the end of the day, Drew Brees got destroyed. Nobody said anything. And then they're talking about Tua's thumb. Well, let me ask you a question. Was Tua's thumb really bad to the point he couldn't play the game he missed? Because according to Flores, he wasn't good enough to play against the Ravens, and he came back and won the game. So was he really injured, or was there a something going on?
Oh, man, I love it. I love it. I got to let you run, my friend, but you always bring it strong. I think we'll be back to the usual Wednesday next week. Thanksgiving, it threw everything off this Thanksgiving. I appreciate you, Big John Stud.
Hey, man, whenever you need me, bro. That's how it is.
I love it.
All right, man. Y'all be good, man. Y'all be safe.
Have a good one. I'm very happy to welcome on. This is the first time he's joined this program. I've been a fan of his work for so long. He does an awesome job. He's the founder of Man on Second, and he's a partner here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network, Joe Frisaro. And Joe, I always roll out the red carpet for paisans, and I'm guessing with a name like Frisaro, you must be of Italian heritage, correct?
You're guessing 100%. Appreciate the kind words, Alex, and mutual big fan as well, and happy to be part of this 5 Reasons family and starting my venture, Man on Second Baseball, which is going to be kind of all things Florida slant baseball. Obviously, Marlins are in my wheelhouse, but I have plans for, the state of Florida, just kind of get that baseball dialogue. We have UM's really good. We got really good amateur players here. And now that I'm not, under MLB's wing like I was for 20 years, I get a chance to branch out and do this stuff. So I think it's going to be a fun ride, but we got some baseball news, right? The baseball hot stoves heated up a little bit, my friend.
Well, and let me start, with a player the Marlins are keeping, Sandy Alcantara, their ace. They lock him up. Now, Joe, I've been a Marlin fan since the inception of the franchise, and I've been through so many times, young stud player, whether it be a pitcher or a hitter, and then the Marlins can't lock these players up or they trade them, all the fire sales. So when we're judging this Jeter-Sherman era, and we're starting, I think, to really get to the time where you can really start to look at the work that they and Kim Ng are doing, what does it say about the Marlins' intent that they've locked Sandy up?
Oh, I mean, it's big. Obviously, it speaks volumes. It's a no-brainer. It's what should have been done. And I hope we have a minute to talk about what our friends in the west part of the state have just done. The Tampa Bay Rays.
Absolutely.
And that ties into Sandy. It's if you want to make a commitment to the fan base and to your clubhouse and to Major League Baseball and pending free agents, that you want to kind of make a run for it, you have to lock up the lock-upable players. And Sandy has made it clear for a while he wants to be a Marlin. They're getting him in a very good, if these figures are right, that 55 million, even if it's 60 when it all said and done. It's a very, team friendly, but still financial security. The way the arbitration system works, saying you couldn't go anywhere for 3 years anyway. So it gives him financial security. His family could be at peace. He knows if something were to happen to him, injury or whatever, he's going to be taken care of for a while. From the Marlins standpoint, now they lock up the no-brainer guy. I'm always leery of pitching, Alex, to be honest with you, to lock it up long-term because it's so fragile. But Sandy's the safest bet because he's proven durable. One of only, less than a handful of starters to throw 200 innings this year. Pretty much would have done it a year ago. Well, 2 years ago, excuse me. Last year, they had the COVID year. But, just a no-brainer. And I tweeted it yesterday. Some pushed back, but I think it's a sign to pending free agents that if you want the Marlins, let's say publicly they've said they want to go for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay. If you're Nick Castellanos, which I've made it clear should be target number one. Nick Castellanos is from here. He grew up a Marlin fan, much like you, knowing their history and knowing they trade everyone. Nick Castellanos was a teammate for many years with Miguel Cabrera in Detroit. He's heard a lot of Miami stories. He knows the history of the franchise. He also is a free agent and highly coveted, and the Marlins are talking to him. And I spoke to Nick during the season, and I could tell you the guy wants to be part of a winner. Well, let's say the money is equal, but the Marlins haven't locked up anybody yet. Then if you're Castellanos, you say, well, okay, I'll come to Miami, but who's going to be here with me? What sign to commitment? Well, now you could tell every pending free agent our ace is locked up, and they really don't have to do anything else with anyone else. And like I said, the contract isn't that prohibitive that if Castellanos' AAV, meaning annual average value, is $20 million a year, let's say he's a $100 million player, Sandy's contract's not going to be standing in the way of that. So it's a win-win in so many ways. It's important there. It isn't official yet, obviously, but it's important that it gets done and gets done early. He should have been priority number one, and the Marlins, to their credit, came through with the no-brainer. Now you could tell the Castellanoses of the world, look, we got him in the fold. We got, good farm system. And as a shit of the light, the guy who might be their best pitching prospect of all is Yuri Perez, 18-year-old who made it to high A ball.
Wow.
And if we segue over to what Juan DeFranco is coming to terms
Yes, I wanted
with,
to get to that. Yeah.
Yuri Perez, to me, would be the guy the Marlins may want to lock up real early because I think this kid's going to move super fast. He may be in the big leagues at 19. He may be in the big leagues at 20. So I love it. Now you get to tell the players who are established. I think the Marlins have recognized they got a lot of role players, but now they need impact players. Sandy's impact, Castellanos' impact, whether they get Nick or not, it's going to cost them money. But at least now there's a recognition that they're just not going to do a bunch of, platoon player guys and hope catch lightning in a bottle and Adam Duvall hits 40 homers and everything falls into place. You got, a legitimate starting point if you want to build something sustainable and fun in South Florida.
I love it. And you mentioned Juan DeFranco in Tampa, 182 million, right?
183, whatever it was. It's like in the 180s for 12 years. This kid's 20 years old. He's probably the best young talent. I know. Jonathan India just got the Rookie of the Year in the National League, and Randy Rosarina, Wander's teammate, got the Rookie of the Year in the American League. But I've made it clear the best rookie in the 2021 season, the best talent is Juan DeFranco. He just didn't play enough, and I love it. It's a recognition of a generational player. Is there risk? Of course, there's a risk, but the Braves got in early on Acuna, locked him up long term. I think that's the key. I think the Nationals fell short with Soto. If you could identify and you can get that player to do it. I don't think Yuri Perez might be the closest I think the Marlins have, that if you wanted to get crazy early, but there's not too many of those guys, Alex, out there. And Tampa Bay had it. And for a team trying to get a stadium deal done, real important to lock him up. And I just really am a huge fan of what the Rays do. And I think their model eventually is going to creep into the thinking of our friends here in South Florida with the Miami Marlins.
Really pleased to be joined here by Joe Frisaro, who brings it so strong. With the hot stove, let's talk about what else the Marlins might do. I'm seeing some links with twin center fielder Byron Buxton, who very promising. He's also been injury prone. Joe,
Yeah,
do
I'm
you think
out.
something happens there?
I can't say no because you don't know what they're talking about. If there's a catcher involved in a trade, yeah, it depends what you're giving up. I don't like injured players.
Yeah.
If your history is injury, and you could be the greatest player ever, but if you're on the field 60 to 80 games a year and you're the Marlins and you're going all in to try to close the gap to get closer to 522 and then hopefully really make a run at 23, 24, 25, you need to have as much reliability as possible. And yes, if you could get him for a trade that makes sense, but I don't think Minnesota's trading him unless they get high value. I rather get the impact bats. I don't care where they play, and then worry about a center fielder. If my impact bat's a third baseman, I love Brian Anderson, but he's another guy who's missed a lot of time the last couple of years. He's coming off surgery. If you could get an impact bat, if it's third base, if it's left field, right field, and you have to kind of make do in center, I'm doing that. I'm not in on Starling Marte at the expense of. I have a number in my head with him because he's not the home run guy. You can't say you need power and then say, let's bring back the 21 team opening day and then hope and keep our fingers crossed that everyone stays healthy. And Starling, he's, the guy's, if you look at him, he looks like he could be on the cover of ESPN's Old Body issue, but he hits 12 homers. Yeah. They need home runs. They need one swing, multiple runs. A guy who could drive himself in. And that's why I'm out on Marte in terms of, 60, 70 million. If someone wants to pay that, God bless them. But I kind of in my head said he made 12 million last year. If you wanted to go 15 for 4 years, but I'm not really going above that for a 33-year-old. I want the hungry guys with power. And I think we need to this market loves to bring everyone back. Mm-hmm. I think we need to say there are a lot of good players out there, really good players out there. Go find new ones. If it didn't work, don't try to rekindle the magic of a 95 loss team and hope for a better tomorrow just because they'll all stay on the field. But as for Buxton, he's an intriguing talent, but I've seen it too much, Alex. I've seen too much. If he's on this team, I'm going to be writing and talking a lot about IL stints and and it always happens. It always happens. Let somebody else make that risk, in my opinion.
You mentioned 95 lost team, and I know that 2 seasons ago, everybody got teased a little bit by, the playoff run in the COVID year. So, and obviously there are moves that need to be made here, Joe, but, heading into the 2022 season, how bullish should Marlin fans be?
I think you have to see, hopefully, if there's a lockout, and I'm one of the few that's really trying to be optimistic that there won't be. But if there is one, hopefully it's not long.
Yeah.
And then you see what they bring. I think the organization is going to tell the fan base how bullish they should be. Because if they just bring in, platoon type players, guys, situational players who are on the mend or reclamation projects, then I don't think much. But if they can land one or two high profile free agent bats and trade for that catcher that's, controllable and promising, then you're on your way. I really think you can't, I've used this analogy, you can't make this a Hail Mary pass season saying, I've covered way too many of them. I covered it in, back in 12 when they opened the new ballpark. I covered it, back in like 9 and 10 and then 16, 17, where you don't have enough to win. And then you're just going to throw money at one or two guys. And if you have a slow start, you're trading everyone and everyone's like PO'd for a decade, it's like, you can't just keep doing that. You have to recognize it's not a, yes, it's a star sport, but it's a depth sport. Mm-hmm. You got to be prepared to be, as loaded with players as you can. Look how the Braves won it this year. They lost their biggest star in Acuna and won the World Series because they had the depth and made the trades to cover. You need to have a realistic approach. You're going to, if you're hoping for a real run in 22, you're hoping that a bunch of pitchers who never stayed healthy, Pablo, Trevor did 133 innings, that are all them, Edward Cabrera, who was hurt, is going to all stay healthy and just run the table and all throw 150 plus with Sandy throwing 200 and all throw a 3.5 or less ERA. It just is so much hoping. But if you see a blueprint and a direction, and if this team could get close to 500 and at least show promise, then I think the Marlins fans have something. And I'll be the first to say if I like where they're headed or not. Because I didn't like. I saw last year's team in spring training. I saw the analytical responses saying this is a 90-plus loss team, and I heard the organization talking playoffs, and I'm scratching my head saying I've covered a lot of baseball, and my eyes see something completely different than them. And I've had some people in the organization admit they were a little too optimistic. So I want to see a realistic. I'd rather see realism, and if it falls short of a play, look. Don't get me wrong. I covered 03. They caught lightning in a bottle and won it all. But what they had at that time in 03 were a ton of guys like Mike Lowell and Louis Castillo. They were hitting arbitration at the right time and were talented enough. They added Pudge, and then their pitching just kind of lit fire. And they next thing you know, they win the World Series. Yes, you can have magic in a season, but I think you got to identify. They got a lot of holes. But I think if there's a realism, and I think if they tell the fan base, honestly, look, we may still be a year away. Don't, stick with us, but we got some really fun guys. Jesus Sanchez is fun. Lewin Diaz is fun. Jazz Chisholm Jr. is fun. And, that's why to me, if they get a guy like a Castellanos, local guy, very much South Florida, whose game suits that ballpark and kind of brings that 305, 954 edge to play. I think the Marlins are well on their way, whether or not they're playing in October or not.
And Joe, you mentioned covering 03, and it sparked something because I saw you tweeted today that it's the 91st birthday today of Jack McKeon. And oh my God, I loved Jack, and I love that 03 team. And it's amazing, as you pointed out, and I did not know this, that he's actually still working in baseball. He's a national special assistant, which is awesome. And so the thing I've got to ask you is, because I wasn't working in media yet when McKeon was managing the Marlins. So I was just watching as a fan from afar. What was he like to cover?
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, because Jack's basically, I call him like my baseball father. Like, I learned more in my early years covering him, and a lot of my foundation of how I see the sport is through Jack's lens. Jack McKeon, to any Marlin fan knows, he brought a fire and experience. He challenged a young player like Josh Beckett, a young player like Brad Penny back in 03 to be the best they can. He used tough love, and Jack, this is typical Jack. If there'd be times the team would, like, let's say, lost like a terrible game, and you go to him the next day, say, did you ball the team out? He goes, no, they didn't need it. And then they would win a game, and he'd say, hey, great win. He goes, I balled the team out. Well, why? Because he noticed sometimes when things are going wrong, there are reasons for it. Guys are playing hard. There might be factors that aren't there. He could read the temperature of the room, and he knew when it was time to hit the pedal and go fast, and when it was the time to back off the reins. He had a very good knack. And Jack, unbelievable. He's 91 years old now. Back, when I was at MLB, I did a story when he turned 80, because he was still a Marlins special assistant at the time. Then last year, one of my probably the last story that I wrote for MLB before I took retirement was the one I took a lot of pride in, was talking to Jack to celebrate his 90th birthday. And so every year I call him up. I talked to him several times during the year anyway, but I called him up yesterday to wish him an early happy birthday. Jack is up in Elon, North Carolina. Yes, he works with the Washington Nationals. You may not know this, but his son, Casey McKeon, is a highly respected scout, player evaluator. He's been with the Nationals a long time. Dan Jennings, of course, the former Marlins GM and manager, is with the Nationals. So there were ties for Jack to go in and be one of those special assistants. He's not there in name only. He is at ballparks. He is watching tons of baseball. He does a lot of minor leagues. There's minor league teams out in that, he's in Elon, North Carolina, wherever he could get to a game, he goes. And he was, get this, Alex, he was yesterday saying, oh, I think I just missed the Caribbean Series game. It was on TV today. He watches winter ball. He watches winter ball. And then when I was talking to him, he goes, yeah, 91. He goes, 91's too young to retire. Jack is a classic. I'm going to throw it right now. I think he should be a Hall of Famer.
I agree.
And I'm going to kind of crusade it. And Hall of Famer as he's the only manager ever to win 1,000 games as a big league manager and a minor league manager. Now that's going to be equaled probably by Brian Snitker. And I don't know if there's ever going to happen again because managers today don't tend to cut their teeth in the minor leagues like they used to.
That's true.
And he was an executive, who put together a San Diego Padres team that went to the World Series. I believe it was the 85 World Series. They got swept by Detroit, but he went there. He was a 2-time manager of the year, once when he was with Cincinnati. And, he's still the oldest manager to lead a team to a World Series championship. Dusty Baker would have been challenging that. That didn't happen for Dusty. And Jack, won it, of course, with the Marlins in 2003. Just a baseball ambassador, 7 decades in pro ball.
Yeah.
It's 7 decades. Keep that in mind.
Wow.
He was a minor league player manager in his early 20s. Wow. And I could talk Jack stories all day. I don't want to bore everyone, but it
fantastic.
is good that Jack, I hate that he's not still with the Marlins, but I'm happy that he's still in baseball and he means the world to me in this sport. And thanks for bringing it up because yes, it is Jack's 91st birthday. It's unbelievable. Just the passion, this is a baseball lifer. I mean, a guy who he has like 15 acres and he drives his tractor cutting his own grass still to this day. And he'll be out there doing that type of stuff. And he loves baseball. It's in his blood like you wouldn't believe. And that's part of what I'm trying to do is just bring good baseball stories to our market. And Jack is one of the greatest storytellers probably the game has ever had.
And I know that those stories are appreciated, except maybe for Zachary B, who was born during the series in 2003. So maybe he doesn't appreciate Jack as much, but I know I do, and I know others in the chat do, because he's an absolute legend. Like you said, baseball lifer. Joe, let the people know what they can find manonsecond.com and all the great shows you do.
Yeah, thank you. The I'm wearing it. It's got the logo, got the T-shirt going. Man on Second Baseball. You spell it out for the website, but part of the 5 Reasons family, so you could follow the podcast on the 5 Reasons YouTube. But everything's linked and streamed off the @ManOn2ND Twitter account. And we got big plans for 22. I didn't really know when I took early retirement, where this would go. And I saw, hooked up with so many younger kids. I knew the fire was still there. So segueing over to people read me, now they can listen to me, So I still write for my website, but I'm finding that the mileage is the power of the voice. So we'll see if we can make a go of this, but it should be a fun ride, and appreciate you having me on, Al.
I'm enjoying it. Thank you so much, and have a really happy Thanksgiving coming up.
Okay, same to you and your family, and yes, I probably have a pasta dish on the turkey table as well.
See, I knew it. I knew it. I knew with a name like Frisaro, I knew you had to be Italian, and of course, anyone with even 1% Italian heritage has to have some kind of a pasta on Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah. There might be lasagna on my smoker this weekend.
Yes, and I want to talk barbecue with you next time.
We could do that. I'll be smoking the turkey as well. So, but yeah, we'll talk barbecue all day, any day. So, thanks for having me, Alex. Appreciate it, buddy.
Awesome stuff. Our pleasure. Awesome stuff there by Joe Frisaro. All right, so I'm going to throw shout outs to everybody in the chat in a moment. I also want to remind you guys about our great sponsors that we should be supporting, especially during the holiday season. But how about this one, my friends? If you want to make some passive income here, get some more money in those old pockets to buy some Christmas gifts for your family, guys, you have to check out our newest partner, BlockFi. Now, I know that some of you watching are already very active in the crypto space because I talk crypto on Twitter with some of you. And even if you're not and you're looking to get into it because you hear people talking about what's going on with Bitcoin and Shiba Inu and Dogecoin, you may want to FOMO into this. Guys, there are sound investments to be made, and BlockFi is a great service. They can help get you set up. But the most important thing about BlockFi, what makes them unique compared to a lot of the exchanges out there, you can open up an interest account with your crypto and earn 8% APY with BlockFi. That's called passive income, my friends. You can also apply for the BlockFi Rewards Visa Signature Credit Card and earn unlimited 1.5% back in Bitcoin. So stack those sats, my friends, and you can sign up with our referral link. We left the link in the show description. So for those of you, you're watching this on YouTube, you can check now or check after the show. We left our referral link to sign up at BlockFi. So you can see that below this episode. So sign up and make sure you register to get 8% APY and sign up for that BlockFi credit card as well, man. Make that income work for you. Make that crypto work for you, my friends. And speaking of crypto, you got our guys at thedailystakes.com giving you great betting decisions, smarter sports betting decisions. You can sign up at their site and get 20% off with our code 5FIVE. And another way you can use your crypto, hold on, I will get to the quarter deck, but I wanted this slide first. Guys, you can deposit with crypto or you can deposit with a credit card at betus.com, the official sportsbook of Donno Daily. Sign up with our code 5RSN125 at betus.com, and they're going to give you a 125% sign-up bonus. That is the best bonus in the industry. You can bet on Heat Pistons tonight. You can bet on Champions League soccer. You can live bet the games that are going on right now in Champions League, or you can bet on all the games coming up tomorrow, including my guys, Inter Milan taking on Shakhtar Donetsk tomorrow. Inter can qualify for the knockout stages with a victory tomorrow, so that's very exciting. You can bet on everything at betus.com. It is America's favorite sports book. It is a 3-decade mainstay in the industry. They're on their 27th NFL season right now. I'm betting games left and right at BetUS. I know Brooklyn Rob calls me the mush, but believe it or not, I do win money on betus.com. I did lose a bet on Bayern Munich today. I mushed them. They won the game, but they didn't cover the 1.5 spread. So you win some, you lose some, but I'm making money at betus.com, 5RSN125. And the Quarter Deck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. We are out at the Quarter Deck tonight, my friends. The Quarter Deck Davie location. We'll be eating the fresh seafood. We'll be knocking down 2-for-1 drinks and watching the Heat pound the Pistons tonight in Detroit. If you want to check their menu or find the location nearest to you, but see us at Davie tonight. But for a future venture, you want to find the location nearest to you, visit them on the web at quarterdeckrestaurants.com. The Quarter Deck, come for the food, stay for the fun. It's been a lot of fun today. Brooklyn Rob says, sweet potatoes, parmigiana. I don't feel like those go. Like, I don't feel like the sweetness of the sweet potato with like the acidity of the tomato and the cheese. Prove it to me if that's tasty. I just don't think that's a good combination. David says, RIP to the Heat given the trend. Yeah, the 5 reasons watch party curse. We'll try to break that one tonight. I mean, the Heat lost to the Nuggets the last time we had a watch party, but I don't know. Something tells me they're going to get off that schneid against the Pistons tonight. This is a great point by Irving Figueroa. I meant to get to this. I didn't get to it. Tua, the show Tua is clearly way better than Daniel Jones. No, he's right about that. And you know what? For as much as I scrutinize Tua Tagovailoa, I call the guy injury prone, his availability. I have concerns about that. I have less and less concerned about him on the field. You make a great point, Irving, because the way that Tua Tagovailoa gets picked apart and criticized by whether it's in this town or all over America, Daniel Jones, why doesn't he get picked apart the way Tua does? Daniel Jones sucks. Tua Tagovailoa does not suck. Daniel Jones is bad. How come he doesn't get the same sort of negativity? Danny Dimes, more like Danny Nichols, am I right? Like, how come he doesn't get the same sort of scrutiny that Tua gets? I mentioned I would rather have Justin Herbert than Tua. I would rather have Mac Jones than Tua. Sorry, not sorry. But I would take Tua over that bum Danny Clown Show Dimes any freaking day of the week, man. Any day of the week. We probably should do this, David. Shout out to David. He says, Thanksgiving food draft tomorrow. Who was it? Judon from the Patriots said today that he hates mac and cheese, that he just take it off the table. You know, mac and cheese is not part of our Thanksgiving tradition in my family, but I do love mac and cheese in general. Like, just because it's not on my Thanksgiving table doesn't mean I don't love mac and cheese. He's a lunatic for not liking mac and cheese. It's ridiculous. So hello to David. Hello to Big Dan 305, who's a staple. I always love seeing Big Dan in the chat. turkey, mashed potatoes, stuffing, and dessert. I do love all those things. Stuffing is actually, out of the traditional Thanksgiving foods, stuffing is my low-key favorite. I could eat a giant plate full of stuffing. Like, if it was socially acceptable, I would drape myself in velvet. No, I would eat an entire plate full of stuffing. Brooklyn Rob says about the sweet potatoes parmigiana. He says, "Don't knock it till you try it." Ugh. I don't know. Alex M asks, "Is the quarterdeck a dog-friendly patio?" I'm 99.9% sure it is. And he says the phone number doesn't work. I would try again. I'd be very surprised. I'm sure it does, but I'm 99% sure the patio is dog-friendly. I think I've seen people there with their dogs before, so you should be good, sir. So I said hello to Irving, Brooklyn Rob, David, Big Dan 305, Timothy Eason. Hello. I see you in the chat as well. George, the man named after my favorite brand of gummy bears, George Albanese. Let's smash that like button. Thank you so much. Please smash the like button and make sure you subscribe to 5 Reasons YouTube. The show. Hello, the show. He says, yeah, just watch Daniel Jones. Felt lucky to have Tua. Daniel Jones blows. Okay. Tua is pretty good. Daniel Jones is not. Hello to EJA 3035 EJA 335 ounce. I feel like there's something in there that I'm just not seeing as far as what this means. There's something 35 ounces. Hello to you. Fish Stripes. Hashtag sign Sandy. It's happening, sir. Brooklyn Rob says more Paisans. Always. Yeah, we brought on Joe Frisaro, who's a Paisan. Always happy to have people of Italian heritage on. But people of all heritages are welcome. It's not, no, I don't discriminate. But anytime we have a Paisan on, it's always fun. Hello to Ronel Ulisse. Also, there are too many YouTubers putting out bad narratives that's messing up the fan base. YouTubers are going to YouTube, bro. It's the hustle, right? I mean, it's up to us to figure out who's good and who's whack, right? Sometimes it takes trial and error because YouTubers, I love the fact that in this line of work, and you guys know I still do work in some traditional mediums in broadcasting, but something that I love about YouTube and I love about podcasting is it's so free and so open because literally anybody can start a podcast. Anybody can start a YouTube channel. If you're not good at it, you're not going to survive at the end of the day, because if nobody's watching you, then eventually you're probably going to give up on it and move on to something else. But, it's up to us to filter through the bullshit. Like, I love the fact that everybody with a phone or a computer and a webcam can do this, at least try to do it. And some people who you'd never expect are really fucking good at it. Like some people who come completely out of left. This guy's an accountant and oh my God, he's great on YouTube. Like you never know. I love that part of this industry. But yeah, there are some people that are ridiculous trolls. They shouldn't be doing it. And it's up to us to figure out who those people are and not watch them. And then eventually they'll give up and they'll move on to something else. Okay. Let's see who else is in. The Dark Knight 36310. Hello. Where are all the receivers they got for Tua? They're all on the IR except for Jalen Waddle, thank goodness, and Mac Hollins. Like pretty much everybody on the IR. Hello to Alex M, to Devin Jordan. I think Devin Jordan also left us a super chat today. Thank you so much for that. As did Brooklyn Rob. Thank you so much to Brooklyn Rob and Devin Jordan. David Rivera, thank you so much for tuning in. Let's see who else. Matty Blue 80 says Tua is a waste of time. I wouldn't go that far, but I respect your opinion because I have been critical of Tua in the past. But Tua's been impressing me. Now, let's see if he can do it. Let's see if he can do against the Carolina defense, which is a top 10 defense, what he did against the 32nd ranked defense of the New York Jets. Show me you can play well consistently, whether it's against good D or bad D, and I'm going to be even more sold on Tua on the field. Let's see. Who else? Did I miss anybody in the shout outs? Zachary B. Thank you so much for tuning in. Dolphin Don, I think it is. Thank you so much, Don, for tuning in. Joseph Rodriguez. Love this dude. He's another one of our chronics. And Manny Chang was cutting it up a little bit in the live chat. Let's see who else. I think that's as high as I can scroll up now. Ray Grullon. Howdy, Ray Grullon. I almost missed. He says, howdy, Donno. So our UM team will go to a 4th-tier bowl if they win. Yikes, that's an improvement. Not. I mean, we should be used to 4-tier bowls. How many times in the last decade have we been to Shreveport and El Paso? I am no stranger to 4th-tier bowls. It's the story of my life recently. So, yeah, huge shout. Louis Sung Sr. as well. Want to shout him out. Big Dan 305. I think I shouted him out already. And so huge thank you. Also, Clemente 3472 with a very optimistic prediction. The Miami Dolphins will win out. Let's get it trending. So they'd be 10-7 if they win out. Let's freaking do this, man. All right, everybody, huge thank you, huge shout out. So I will be doing a show tomorrow. Will not be doing a show on Thanksgiving Day. I doubt any of you, unless maybe we have some Canadians here, because your Thanksgiving was a month ago. I doubt any of you would watch on Thanksgiving anyway because you're with your family. So nothing on Thursday. We will be on tomorrow, yes. Wednesday, yes. Thursday, no. And Friday, I'm going to be doing something on this channel probably a little bit earlier or a little bit later, probably before 2 p.m. Well, definitely before 2 p.m. because I'm going to be filling in for Hawk and Crowder on Friday, 2 p.m. on 560 and 790. So you guys can hear me on your radio if you're around on Friday. So we will talk to everyone again tomorrow on another episode of Donno Daily on the 5 Reasons